Hello and welcome back to Week 8 of the OCS. Thank you for joining us whilst you're sitting at home on the PBE, just waiting for that little queue time to tick ever so down to get into TFT. But I am your host, Bryce Egan-Poyle, once again joined by Vandy. Welcome back to the desk.
Yep, it's good to be back. We had a very interesting start to our day. As you said, played a bit of TFT.
Yeah, grinding it.
I had great beginner's luck, and then it all went so horribly downhill. And you almost had the miracle win.
Yeah, I was actually getting coached by a rioter behind me, so I got a sneaky little bit of insider knowledge. But I was exactly the same, to be honest. My first couple of games, I won after never playing auto chess. I won 3 out of 4 of my first TFT games. And now I'm just getting smacked.
It's impressive, right? Like, you come into a game, it's totally different. You know the League of Legends champions, but they're doing totally different things. And you're like, okay, what is the essence of this game? And something that was really interesting that I started to pick up on, things that you think are really OP because you know that they work really well in Summoner's Rift, like you're like, oh, late game Tristana, that's going to be amazing. No, it's
Just
not
not
always
the
the case. Tristana, not that good in TFT unless you got some items.
Late game Volibear, you know, get him a static Shiv, maybe a PD, give him a Gwyn suit, and he kind of pops off.
Nidalee was popping.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But we do have some actual League of Legends to talk about here today. We will bring the schedule up, and we'll see who is facing off. Once again, it is week number 8. So UTS and QUT going to be the first cab off the rank here. Mammoth Academy versus AV for round number 2. Diacubs versus Chiefs, which is a bit of a top-of-the-table banger. Diacubs did actually lose their top spot to Mammoth last weekend, so certainly want to be stacking up the wins after this point. UQ Union versus Mprox to kind of round out towards the end. Order Academy and Legacy, and then Bombers versus Gravitas. And I think games number 3 and 6 going to do it for me here today.
I have to agree with you. Those were the 2 that I noted down. Something as well worth mentioning is that Gravitas, Chiefs, Mprox, Legacy, they're all on that 5-2.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the pressure is on them because, as you said, no one wants to be giving up those free losses, but more so that they can really start to climb and cement their positions on the leaderboard.
Yeah, certainly, because it's top 6 goes into playoffs. I haven't done the ladder math as of yet. Maybe have to do that before next week, but we are getting into territory of like who is going to be actually making it into playoffs, like who statistically can't make that run. Of course, you look at the bottom of the ladder and there is a couple of teams with less than or even like 1 win down there. So it's definitely a bit of a rough time to start your surge so late into the season.
Absolutely. I think the teams that come into mind, we saw that UTS, they're first on the board right there. Really, really struggling. The only team to yet pick up a win. And for them, it's really interesting. They have gone through a couple of iterations of their roster, something I guess that you were probably going to touch up on, and which I won't steal your thunder for. But even then, they're still not yet having that success that they desire. Yeah,
certainly the case. But this is going to be week 2 of exactly the same roster. They did have a bunch of changes, as you kind of alluded to, but this is almost their new team that it looks like, at least from my end, they are settling down with. Cadence and Frolic are relics of the old roster, but you have Midas in the top side, Yele jungle, and Peekaboo in the mid lane. So kind of hoping to hold down the fort as they head into the last couple of weeks, because I believe there's only 11 weeks of regular play. So this is 8. This will be the last 4th week there, 3 weeks after we finish up this one. So it will be interesting to kind of track their progress heading into the end of the season.
See how they go, but remember, once they get that first win, I have to wear that UTS hoodie as well.
Yeah, you do.
We're yet to see that. I've unfortunately got my denim jacket on today, but I mean, it's going to be do or die, as you said. Only a couple more weeks. You really want to be at least getting 1 win across the board. For them,
I feel like at a certain point, we need to stop harping on UTS.
No, it's like, not that. It's not. Honestly, the reason why is because I'm still struggling to see why they haven't got that win. As I said, for me, from weeks 1 through 6, I was like, they're having good early, then they just fall apart mid to late. Last week, I felt as though they had a better showing, but you could really see that it was experience that let them down that time because they were up against the likes of... They were versing Mprox. Mprox, so they really struggled with the experience there. In the picks and bans, in the bans part, and we're kind of going through. Something that we don't get to see is Mordekaiser.
Yes,
the
of course.
boss himself.
Yeah, this is going to be patch 9.11. Still haven't updated to the new one that is currently hitting live so far. So there won't be any Mord here today. He's been terrorizing solo queue. I've been given a little bit of word of warning that potentially some disabling may be happening just due to a bunch of bugs. Mordekaiser's just had bugs like literally his entire life.
Does anyone remember what is it when he takes the dragon and it dies and it gives you that weird message? It's like dragon underscore.
Oh, in like the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone was...
There's some...
Okay, when that Spotlight video came out, the comments section just cracked me up.
Was it in like the genuine like Mordekaiser?
Yeah,
reworks
but like
style?
it was so funny. Just like it cracked me up so much in the comment section, of course.
Yeah,
like people just came up with the wittiest stuff.
Yeah, okay, but we are through all the way through bans here. Rattle them off: Hecarim, Pyke, Sylas. Hecarim and Sylas make a lot of sense to me there, wanting to remove some cheesy stuff. But we are getting through this one quickly. Support's targeted on the other side for QUT, but Aatrox's first pick, huge power pick on the current patch. But same can be said about Sejuani when you pair that with a flexible champion now in the Camille. She can go top, she can go mid. You can kind of get the matchups you pick and choose on the red side, given that you do have last pick. So both these teams getting early access to something they want.
Locking in that early Xayah as well, and maybe following up with support if QUT wants to really follow on with that trend. Targeting that bot lane, but especially targeting Frolic. Last week, when we did see the go up against Mprox, it was the bot lane from UTS that probably provided most, played most average. Like, they didn't really have a hard time. It was really the top and mid that got completely shut down. So I think that's also QT's way. The Hecarim ban was something that I did want to bring up. Both teams like to play him a lot, but mostly Frogger Dog. He was playing him last week as well with varying success, but he can be that true terror. But Renekton going to fill in that position in that top lane, and he's really just come to shine back into the spotlight after so long.
Well, yeah, he's not necessarily going to be in the top lane, I believe, and unless the matchups like get solidified, like they can be put kind of anywhere, and they will just wait until the last pick to decide where they put him. When you have a Sejuani, the options in your solo laners genuinely just become unlimited. Like you can just pick melee Bruiser into weird mid lane matchups just because they can stuck that passive. Like Sejuani hits level 6, it's just very easy gank setup when you've already got a stun on both solo laners. So honestly, we spent a lot of time talking about the UTS lineup, but QUT coming into this one, I very much like their read on the meta. This has been a big proponent of success for multiple teams on this patch, and obviously picking up here today, comp looks good so far.
I really find it funny that you were mentioning the wacky mid laners because it was Unspecialized who played, was it Nocturne mid last week?
Yeah.
And that had varying results. I don't know if I was a fan of it, but you could see what he was trying to do with it. So even if you have that Renekton mid, you can see Unspecialized if he's going to leave that one there. He's had kind of that expertise in playing sort of those melee bruisers in that mid lane and then sending Camille to the top. So yeah, like you said, giving them that flex based on which matchup they'd like to prefer. The Rakan combo, we know that Frolic's pretty good on that Rakan as well, really boosting up that Xayah coming into their own. Something that we saw a lot of, which I'm surprised that QT didn't pick up, was Sivir. We've seen so much of Sivir Braum especially. Yeah,
I think given their AD carry choices, it really was between the Sivir and the Ezreal, as you mentioned, but they go for the Ezreal, maybe a little bit safer, can be left on an island. There's not a lot of supports to pick and choose from here for QUT, given the Morgana and Nautilus gets banned by UTS, and they hit 3 on the bench there on the other side, so... Vicaria coming in this week over Spoil, those guys just flipping in and changing every single week between playtime, I expect here, but not the most options available, and that is going to be Camille support.
That's a curveball. Hang on.
Okay.
Don't tell me it's Nocturne support. There's no way.
Nah, Nocturne support sounds like a bit of a roughie. I reckon we have seen Camille support in the past. Back when she was just like mega busted champion, because that's what happens with supports when like Poppy is broken. Supports are like, wow, this thing is just so good, I can play it anyway. And Camille is going to be a pilot in the hands of Vicaria, I expect. They still do have another 13 seconds to change with, though.
I love that QT. Every week they're trying something different, trying something new, and the Nocturne goes back to mid again. So Unspecialized, he's saying we still like the composition we're working with. We still like the theory of the composition that we were trying to work with last week, and they're going to see if they can get a win with it this time.
Because that is the thing, right? It was Ascana Syndra locked in for the mid-jungle 2v2 for UTS, and you look at the other team comp at the time, and it's like Renekton Camille locked in. You know what your matchup-ish is going to be. Now you're sitting on a Syndra, incredibly immobile, and there's just a Nocturne on the other team ready to ruin your day. This is certainly some cheeky draft tactics here from the Tigers, looking to make the Nocturne mid pay off time again here in week number 8. See if UTS can hold faster. They do have a much more standard composition. They have a big beefy front line, the Aatrox, the Skarner. They've got engage tools. They've got strong, well-scaling carries there. So kind of the all-rounders in this game, whereas QUT, it's all about the dive.
I want to see how QUT uses that dive because last week they weren't able to get it off. So that was the biggest reason why their composition was failing, even though they were trying to really pull that one off. We're going to go straight into this rift over here. And then, you're distracting me so much. Yeah. You can't see what he's doing at home. But the reason why I sound so disconnected is because Bryce is literally pacing around, trying to find a remote.
I can't find the TV remote. I didn't check before broadcast, and now we don't have one. So
it's all right. We're just going to have to make do.
Yeah, I've been told production is on the case. Thank you, production. Big fan of that
Sherlock
one.
Holmes. But we're into this game. Yeah. We're going to make do with what we've got. And we'll see where our pesky remote has gone. But yeah, the reason why QUT had a struggle last week was because they weren't able to use the globals, they weren't able to use the roam. This time, I really want to see them able to exploit UTS. They have very mobile champions, and they know if they get that vision, if they get that opportunity and UTS push out too far, they have all the tools to be able to take them down.
Yeah, certainly is the case here. It's actually going to be the cleanse still picked up here for Peekaboo, which I'm surprised at. I was looking at Champ Select, and sometimes Champ Select as a spectator kind of does that thing where the summoners get locked at about 20 seconds, but if the player switches it up in the last couple, we don't see it change. But in terms of a strict 1v1 is not going to be very useful against the likes of a Nocturne. If he gets on top of you, the fear is really the least of your worries. It's the lethal tempo and just the sheer amount of damage that can come out. Does kind of defend him a little bit against any of High Goodbye's ganks if they do come around. Level 6, you can kind of cleanse away from a cheeky little place or prison that could be thrown your way, but do get into laning. That was a bit of an interesting trade, level 1, and Specialized walks up, cancels an auto attack, and then eventually walks away.
Just chilling. Vicaria as well able to get that ward into the Raptors. So nice little bit of deep warding. I mean, you saw Peekaboo able to try and discourage him, but didn't really work out. So at least now I said they have tracks on that jungler. It will really help.
And you can see what they were looking for, right? It's now a fairly deep ward on the Raptor pit, looking to spot out Yele, and then immediately Unspecialized goes topside to place it in the dot push. So this is a coordinated warding effort from the red side of the map very early. They don't want Skarness to get access to the lanes because their lanes are vulnerable. This is how you expect the matchup in the mid lane to go. Peekaboo, until he can be all-in by the Nocturne, should have the advantage. This is actually very nicely played here from the Syndra, holding the wave in a precarious position. Even though his jungler is on vision, still is going to have to respect that one and loses a bit of HP, but the wave is in a very nice spot.
Unspecialized trading quite well, as you said, but Peekaboo just making sure that he knows really what he needs to do in this lane and not just get overly aggressive, just hold the wave, as you said, wait for the jungler to come on in. Something as well in that top lane that we're really going to see play out. I mean, both of them are kind of like the Titans that we've got, right?
Yeah.
Like, neither are really going to be moving around, but it comes down to the jungle presence.
Yeah, it certainly does. And all of these lanes are, as I was talking about, and as we talked about last week in the QUT game, very vulnerable. They want to get to that level 6 spike and then start looking to take over the game, and that is exactly why they went for the deep warding efforts early. They sacrifice a leash on a jungler. I mean, it was just a Camille leash from the support position, so probably not the biggest thing there. Ezreal does a fine job on his own, but certainly you can see the play here from QUT to try and get to that point. Ward from UTS is going to spot out High Goodbye topside, though, and given that Unspecialized doesn't have TP and is going for a recall, there could be a contest on if they want it, but maybe not on the cards here. Spots out the Sejuani and Yele just walks away.
High Goodbye, just going a little bit deeper, trying to spot out enemy jungler. So Yele, just also, it's a bit of that Mexican standoff, but warding to make sure that there's going to be no further approach there. Bot lane is going to be business as usual. Something that I noticed, I mean, Feint does have that teleport, so he can reset a lot quicker once he starts to build, once he starts to reach that gold that he needs to start to get those first items up.
Yeah, if he can get to the tier Sheen spike, then feels very good as an Ezreal player. In the early levels, kind of just doesn't have a support, right? Camille functions when she has a jungler in the vicinity, but outside of that, it's kind of like a squishy Alistar that goes in. Yes, he has an Aftershock, and you have that tiny little bit of a heal on the back end of a W, but it's kind of hard to make things happen early, so about a 5 CS lead-ish here for the Xayah Rakan lane, and you kind of expect the lane to continue trending in that direction. Feint did actually pop the TP that you talked about right then and there, though, so he goes back, picks up the tier, wants the early spike of the transform and the Muramana there.
Makes sense. I mean, you can start to stack that one up, get it going, as you said, if you're not really going to build into that Sheen. Vicaria on that Camille, that's going to really be the talking point for me, because you have to make this pick worthwhile. Otherwise, as you said, you're really giving up any sort of lane presence that you had. Top lane, Midas and Froggadog just trading some damage there. But it really comes down to once that 6 is there, how they're really going to play that one out. And, I mean, okay, you've seen the Camille being played out as support earlier. In terms of the build, do we start to see something a little bit more tanky, a little bit more support, a little bit more damage?
Just probably go supportive items. Like, he's never going to get enough gold to actually build a real Camille build. If Vicaria gets his hands on a Triforce, that is the best Camille game he's ever going to have, I expect. It does have decent-ish stats. The 20% CDR is nice, but it is just so goddamn expensive. I expect maybe something a lot more like the Relic upgrade into maybe like a Redemption or just standard support
Hold
stuff
up here. They're actually going for that one onto Cadence, forcing out the heal and the flash. Bane, they're still pressuring for more, trying to get Frolic back, but that was very nicely played.
Yeah, and that is just best case scenario. Frolic hard commits for the knock up there. Unfortunately gets eat out of Feint, but Summoner's burnt all over the place, and the TP lane comes out with a victory in the skirmish. The straight 2v2 goes their favor, and they're going to be able to push that wave in. It's a long, depressing walk back to lane here for Xayah Rakan. Are going to miss out on a bunch of that EXP.
Carrier doesn't even need the ultimate. With a little misstep like that, they were able to really just take over the lane, and that's just the damage burst combo that they're working with and that you need to respect. Just a little bit more damage would push them over the edge, but unfortunately still on cooldown.
Yeah, and that is the thing, right? Like Camille into a Xayah, you think about it, like yes, she has the Feather Storm, she can buy herself some safety there, and it is kind of one button for one button, but free level 6 mark, that's not available. This
forcing
is
out an ult from Frogadog. Yele is there, but Hi Goodbye is also trying to push them back. Yele now suddenly on the retreat. The stun comes across. Frogadog is actually going back in. Yele is very, very low, and Frogadog gets that first blood.
Yeah, Yele committed his flash and then keeps going there for the fight. Unfortunately, Midas not with the backup available, so that was a pre-level 6 gank from these junglers. UTS force it, unfortunately now cross-map in either side lane, losing out in these fights.
That's the beauty of Renekton. You can always do that bait in once your cooldowns are back on up, get that little bit of a heal, but a really, really nice turn, and that's Hi Goodbye. So comfortable on that Sejuani.
Yeah, it certainly is. He just held his Q for long enough. Yele keeps committing forward, buys his Renekton a little bit of time. And the worst part of that is that Aatrox, in a little bit of a CS deficit, already had gone for a base. So he had a phage for that fight, and it's like advantage fight straight up 2v2 for UTS, but maybe a little bit of miscommunication, not on the same page there, and they split up just enough for QUT to be able to punish that one, and the kind of shopless Renekton turns around, hits him with a WQ in the face, and that's enough to take him down.
UT starting to build up a small lead for themselves with that as well, so they'd be sitting pretty. And that bot lane, I mean, it feels like it should be different, but again, Hi Goodbye just going against Yele, and the Ocean Drake is helping out making it 2v1. Doesn't even matter, it's a 3v1, and Specialized picks up that one.
And goddamn, Ocean Drake does so much damage. Jungler tank 1 versus 1, but Hi Goodbye's got the bro there, helps him out a little bit. Unspecialized comes in with the KS very nicely on the Nocturne, and also gets the Presence of Mind, plus like the ulti stack proc there, so definitely necessary for the Nocturne player, and a very good start to the game for QUT. This is now a kill, if not almost a kill or a one fight in every single one of their lanes so far, and an Ocean Dragon early, it's another prize to boot.
Yep, starting to talk about their lead. They're starting to really snowball it from 1k into 2k. And if you're UTS, you just want to be putting the brakes on that one. But I guess the biggest person who suffers is Yele. 2 deaths on him, and he's starting to really fall behind in that jungle.
Yeah, they weren't like plays of his own volition. That was a pretty greedy dragon to start up, and unfortunately, possibly the worst one to get caught doing. Ocean Dragon, yes, does damage, but the slow is just so obnoxious, and when you get face-checked by a Sejuani, she already has multiple forms of CC.
It's just
Drag, adding another slow to that one just makes you even more miserable there. And you saw Skarner can be a very quick champion when he wants to be, but not in that case, and potentially losing his mid laner, the blue buff, as well. They didn't quite spot him on the bottom side, but this is a nice use of priority from Frogadog. Opportunistic play, and that's another advantage for QUT.
They're really starting to stack it up. As I said, last week we didn't really see the cohesiveness of their composition. They're trying an iteration of it again, and this time, it's actually really working out for them.
Yeah.
Keen to see how these fights start to progress out. You've got Unspecialized. The Ultimate will be coming back online shortly. And then again, it's going to be, if that bot lane is overly extended, I do have that red ward, the pink ward in the river. Maybe I can do a quick roam.
This is a top gank though. Aatrox ulti pops.
Hi Goodbyes, tanking the turret. Midas is very, very low. He couldn't get the reset. Frogadog picks up a kill easily.
Yeah, easy as you might. They're walking behind the turret. No counter gank there for Yele, and another kill goes over to the top side. This Renekton starting to get fairly scary now, working on, probably completed his Black Cleaver after that little skirmish. They gets a plating off the back end as well. And talking about their lead and how it's snowballing, like, you kind of look at the Nocturne. He was handed that kill on a silver platter. This is the risky pick of this comp, and is kind of the crux with which the comp operates, right? He is the guy that makes the Camille support viable, that gets a dive buddy in there. It's the Sejuani in the jungle as well. And the fact that he kind of got that random free kill just gifted towards him makes QUT's early game just that much easier. And now they are hitting those level 6 spikes. That's High Goodbye immediately ganking topside. They get a kill. There hasn't been another Nocturne ulti. There hasn't even been a Camille ulti this game, but those options still are on the table here for QUT.
Dog as well is really going to be putting the brakes on Midas in that top lane. That's something that's going to really just start to worsen for him. He already had a bit of that CS deficit, but it's going to get worse because Unspecialized, again, he's going to be that threat that he needs to keep in mind if Midas is going to be able to push on out. Otherwise, if not Unspecialized, then High Goodbye time and time again. So it's a really rough position to be put in.
Yeah, and constantly Peekaboo being roamed on. Vision control so far has been quite nice, given that there's been multiple pinks expended from QUT side into bot side River. Has to kind of sit back and play very defensive on the Syndra. This Rift Herald probably won't be contested, but something I want to highlight is given that the lead kind of started in the jungle. Skarner sitting 0 and 2 right now, and High Goodbye has had access and activity in all 3 of the kills they've gotten. His life isn't going to get any easier purely by Nocturne's existence. Now Sejuani, you don't think of her like as an invade demon. She's not a Kindred or a Lee Sin that walks into your jungle and makes you miserable trying to do your camps and stealing stuff away, but he can play that game because once level 11 gets hit, Nocturne ulti range is far enough that he can kind of just walk either side of mid lane, can ulti to a camp, and Yele's really going to struggle to get back up in this one.
Tough when you're a Yele, but they still do have the power to be able to get these picks for UTS, but it comes down to their team fights. In terms of laning now, it's going to be very, very hard for me to see them getting killed. Even if Yele just charges at them, who's he going to gank? His gank options are very, very limited. Yeah,
bottom lane is kind of under a little bit of threat now. You can see the ulti comes out of Fate as blue buff is being traded here by the Skarner, but I expect that they know he's bot side, they know the trade is going on, and that is going to be the Rift Herald popped as you mentioned. That's going to be first brick taken, only 12 minutes as well, so all 5 plates taken by the top side.
And just again, top is just on a roll, especially with Frogdog. It's going to be very, very hard to just stop him. But also High and Goodbye, just prioritizing that one so well. Midas wasn't there to contest. Level difference starting to happen in that lane. And High Goodbye is still keeping the pressure up. They might be even trying to go for a dive, it looks like. Absolutely. Ooh. The ultimate, unfortunately, whiffs just a little bit, but it doesn't even matter. High Goodbye there to pick that one up. They're going to get this turret too.
Worst case scenario for UTS. The jungle and mid lane are float to the opposite side of the map, so Midas is literally on an island up here. Flashes out of the Glacial Prism, dodges High Goodbye's ulti, but is not enough to kind of live off the back end. So Rift Herald gets 2 turrets all before plating, and this top side seems to be snowballing out of control here for QUT. 5k gold deficit at 12 minutes. It's not the way you want to start the game for UTS fans.
I was almost going to say it's almost like a K a minute. That's how it's been. Just because of the plays that QUT have been making. Just so calm and collected. And really, everything just seems to be going their way in terms of that decision-making, that process. But also, they know they have that lead. And High Goodbye, you can see how aggressive he's able to play because of it. He's just so confident.
Yeah, and I like the speed with which they are setting things up. They're just committing to one side. You can see bottom side, Feint, Vicaria have done next to nothing this game. Just even in farm, that's okay. You have a Klepto Ezreal, he'll scale up. And given that Camille kind of got away with murder in the laning phase, she didn't get punished at all. That was probably meant to be something like a 2 or 3 plate matchup. That's a nice knock-up though from Frolic.
They go straight onto High Goodbye, forcing out that flash very, very early. Unspecialized is using the ultimate, trying to back him off. Now actually commits into the backline, onto Frolic. The rest of the members are trying to collapse onto him, but Yele is the one who then gets turned upon and taken down. Teleport coming across from Midas. The carrier goes in it, forced to use the Hourglass. The rest of the members of UTS managed to trade here.
Yeah, Vicaria just looking to buy some time for Frogdog. Unfortunately, didn't get into the fight, so it eventuates being a UTS fight, getting the 1-for-1 that they wanted. Jungler gets traded for the support, so maybe not the best there, but getting the TP out of Frogdog is certainly a big prize. It looks kind of inconsequential in how the fight turns out, but for the next 5 minutes, there's a ton of pressure lost there for Renekton.
Yele, he's been almost just the scapegoat here for his team. Yes, they did pick up that kill. It sets him back a little bit, but honestly, I think that's a good thing. You don't want the rest of the members starting to go behind. If you've already got one member, just cut your losses, right?
If he just ints for kill trades for the rest of the game, that is a good situation. You're getting your life for like Feint or something, that is best case, but if you can take a Camille, if you can take a Renekton, then those are certainly good trades. This is still mid lane being prioritized. Next dragon has spawned, and you can see QUT wanting to set that one up.
They also know that the blue is up. They have it warded as well in case we see QUT try to make a play for that with Froggadog coming on up. But Dragon, as you said, is what they've started.
And I feel like you can kind of tell how scared players are of a particular champion by how many pings come out. When your lane goes missing, you're just like, oh yeah, lane missing pings. Like a single one.
Yeah.
And then you expect your bottom lane or your top lane to react accordingly. That was 4 pings on the top of Froggadog as he walks out of mid lane, and you can tell he's just like, he's going top.
Don't give him any more.
He is going top. Please don't die. This is
Hi, goodbye. Opening up with the ult. Peekaboo not even threatened. Good play, good play.
Yeah, just getting the cleanse out should be useful. CDR on the Sejuani, now that it has Kindle Gem, a couple of items completed here, is kind of low-ish, but moving to Summoner means that when Unspecialized's ulti comes up and available, which it wasn't for that fight, is certainly going to be a tough ask for this Syndra once again. Spell Shield timing is going to be super important. Given that they have kind of broken open top side of the map, this mid turret may be next on the chopping block if Froggadog keeps rotating towards the mid lane, and holding that one for UTS will buy them kind of a lot of respite in what has been a fairly rough early game. This is a gank.
Yele and Frolic going straight on to Ezreal right there, who's got 3 members surrounding him. Fang gets taken out very, very easily.
Yeah, very nice pick up there. Vicario just kind of pieces it out up the river. Nothing he can do for the Ezreal. So UTS find avenue to the bot lane. This is going to be a cancelled recall. Hits him in the face. Kind of annoying.
Just playing the annoyance, but hi, goodbye. Very, very aggressively positioned. Again, Midas straight into his sights. Froggadog, they're just letting him get away with murder in that top lane.
Yeah, what? He's actually just hitting the inhib turret. Recall does eventually come through from Peekaboo, so we'll just be about half HP and...
3 members of QUT in that mid lane. Midas is getting picked upon again. There's nowhere for him to go. Midas, he's having a rough time, but so too is Peekaboo.
Oh, nice stun.
That was a great stun to keep Froggadog under the turret. Actually forcing the flash, using the ultimate to get the shutdown.
Yeah, huge shutdown there for the Syndra. Stopwatch buys him just enough time and a very nice stun. So across the map, it is the 1-for-1, but any trade at this point is very good for the blue side of the map. Mid turret did unfortunately fall down, and that is the combo, right? It's Camille flying in with the Nocturne, locking them in place, and no ability to escape. If you kind of look a little bit weird, you're like, why is he just straight up hitting the inhib on the top side? But given that UTS were able to find the answer, now 2 kills on the Xayah, a single kill on the Syndra. Their carries are certainly coming online, if not their front line falling a little bit far behind.
Hi, goodbye has his eyes set firmly on Midas. You can see even in that mid lane, then they called Vicario across before they committed to that gank. And that just shows really, really clean teamwork coming out from them. But also, again, it's just singling out that target. They know that Midas is so far behind. He's very, very weak still. He's not able to get those resets. He doesn't have enough damage. So what better member to try and pick off?
And that is what you need, right? Like, this comp just needs hard committing. Whatever target you pick on, you actually need to press all your buttons on that guy to make it work. Now that we kind of have broken that mid lane turret, you can see the immediate deploy into 1-3-1. Nocturne goes top side, Renekton in the mid lane, or in the bottom lane rather, and the bottom lane travels up the river here. So now kind of comes the hard part. For UTS not to be kind of split all over the map, they're going to have to kind of do exactly what I was saying for QUT. They have to commit. You expect them to probably start losing things. This outer turret is probably next on the chopping block, but can they get a trade for it on the other side of the map? Can they make picks happen? Skarner Flash is there still.
Again, look at Hi Goodbye, where Froggadog is and Midas is. Hi Goodbye is not far behind.
Has the boys, though.
He does. Finally, the members of UTS perhaps sensing something.
This is a very nice read. Nocturne sitting in a bush waiting for someone to catch this wave, but won't find it. And if they can bait them in, this could be a turnaround play. Yele has Flash, has Predator available as well. They get spotted.
He's baiting.
Here it is.
There they go. Finally, the rest of the members are there from UTS, and they read the bait so well. The drag is going to finish him off from Yele. The rest of the members chasing up. Hi, goodbye, Midas. He's waiting for his combo to come up. Unfortunately, he misses it. Yeah. Someone's got to land some CC or Hi, goodbye. He manages to get the speed boost, and he's out. But in the meanwhile, he's getting 2v1.
Nice
Good stun is keeping him alive. Peekaboo is still living, but finally, Vicario is able to get the last tick.
And barely Peekaboo not able to trade once more. UTS with a very nice read, but it does cost them the inhib turret. Hi Goodbye, of course, had the flash available that whole time, but didn't need to use it, so they get another turret off the back end. Making a kind of advantage there out of nothing. They get picked on the bottom side, but they hard pressure the other side of the map, and they rebound with 2.
So interesting, right? UTS, they had to commit 4 members, and they only got that 1 kill. Hi Goodbye. Almost like the cat with 9 lives, right? But we know she's running the pig. But again and again, time and time, just so tanky. And also the speed that she had.
Yeah.
Just to run away, just See ya.
All of the CC went on to like locking down the Nocturne, right? The Skarner ulti comes through, he gets impaled. The Rakan Charm, I do believe, maybe hit the Sejuani, but then immediately he just queues away by some distance, and then you don't necessarily want to flash for a target that is a Sejuani that will ultimately just flash away from you either way. So UTS not really able to keep committing to this one, but it's a Fire Dragon, so all 10 members converging onto your screen right now. This fight could be big. Baron has spawned as well.
They have. Rest of the members of UTS trying to commit to this Infernal Drake and finish it. Peekaboo gets chunked out on the side. They do confirm the Infernal Drake, but Peekaboo is so low from the Ezreal ulti. Frolic is very, very low. Rest of the members, Vicaria just being absolute nuisance, kills Peekaboo, going straight onto Midas and picks up that second kill.
And QUT with a hard flank there. Big damage out of Feint, scores them a single kill to start this one off, but
they're not yet done. Feint wants to still poke one out. Vicaria over the wall, straight onto Yele. He does get rooted in response, but now that Unspecialized is here, he picks up an easy kill.
But can they just straight up run towards Baron? You see immediately bolt up the river. Vision is in between them, but given that they're not turning around, they don't want to clear it out. This is going to be the call. Vicaria, classic support, wants to take out the Vision on his way, but 20 seconds on the Xayah, 10 about on the other solo lanes. Frolic with the Mobies makes it here first, so we'll have some vision, and maybe that is enough to dissuade QUT.
Now, Frolic did fall in that initial engage to Cadence, but he has the teleport up, so it's not the worst for them. On the side of QUT, though, by running themselves up, they know that they don't yet have enough time, or they don't feel as though they have enough time to safely start the Baron.
Like at this point of the game, death timers aren't huge. We are only 20 minutes in, so the fight happens, you lose 10 seconds, and it takes you probably another 10 to 15 to walk to the pit. And people were starting to come back up online. I will say Frolic in that fight, team did lose that one, but definitely saved his mid laner for the tiniest bit more time before the Camille and Sejuani hard commit come over the wall. It almost looked like Feint was single-handedly going to take down the Syndra, but just able to deny that one for a little bit longer. But you see, item spike galore here for QUT. Nocturne is sitting on components for about 3. Warmog's now done 2 items for the Renekton that kind of started this game off with a lead, right? It was multiple dives towards the top side, making Midas's life miserable, but since that point, they've been able to pressure the other lanes and start grouping up with the Nocturne, and now he's the recipient of a bunch of that gold.
QT, they're still holding on very, very nicely to their lead. I was looking at Vicaria's build, and exactly as you said, the Redemption coming out, a little bit more support in the mid lane. Looks like he's having a bit of a support off with Frolic.
The bottom lane, though, Midas gets dived for the 70th time this game. Not having a good one so far, but UTS just going to straight up start the Baron. They are on the Crab Vision, so they know exactly what's going on. Ezreal and Renekton TPs.
They are indeed. They don't have enough damage, and perhaps they can start to capitalize on that, but Vicaria immediately locks the Xayah into place. The rest of the members actually do get the kill onto Vicaria, but it doesn't actually matter. Unspecialized gets the kill and gets away with it. He's still on so low. Yele will unfortunately fall as well, and this fight very convincingly goes over to QUT.
Yeah, barely only just losing one member here, but now Baron is the call. Unspecialized doesn't want anything to do with it, continuing to push the top side. Once again, it has the exposed inhibitor. They took that one down earlier, so don't need the member on Baron. They're going to take double advantage off that one. Gold lead approaching the 10k mark, probably will hit it with this Baron takedown, and very nice fight started off from QUT. Starts with Vicaria, does Camille support things. He doesn't care if he dies as long as he locks down a carry. Locked them down, started the engage, and the follow-up is always going to be there.
Unspecialized was so close to falling, and if he did, it might have been a slightly different story for UTS, but it wasn't meant to be. They also didn't have Midas, so they were already fighting that with a numbers disadvantage. But I got to really give it up for QUT. They're able, like the way they reacted, but also that they were almost cut off. You had Feint on one side, but then you also had Frogdog down at below the river, but they didn't like charge in. They let Vicaria really just lock in cadence, focus their damage, and really prioritize those high priority targets.
And it's a super hard way to fight, like coming from every direction, especially when you look at the enemy comp and it's like Skarner, Rakan, Syndra. All of these guys can just like start a pick, and when you kind of look at that comp and it's like, okay, we're grouped up as 5 and people are coming from every direction, you kind of can just be like, okay, let's go west, and we just pick on the guy over there, make it a 5 versus 1 to start this one off. But the timing was there for QUT. Camille goes in, Nocturne goes in, and Renekton comes over from the back of the wall and are able to kind of lock that one down. This is another pick onto bottom side. Froggadog maybe isn't the target they're looking for. That's a recall. Do they actually want to go through with
Looks
this?
like they'll try to knock up to open things, followed by the stun from Peekaboo. The ultimate does come across. Renekton has to proc his ulti, and Froggadog almost turns out for a 1-for-1 onto Frolic.
Yeah, top inhib is being hit on though, and Ezreal ulti's not going to find its target in the bottom lane. So it is the 1-for-0 trade. Froggadog off the board. QUT is still looking to respond with the base turrets though.
UTS had to sacrifice so much to get that one kill. The rest of their base completely being gutted. Top was taken out for free. Now they're trying their best to defend this middle inhibitor. But High Goodbye is barely taking any damage. Frolic wants to try and make a pick, forcing that ultimate out from Unspecialized, and looks like they're disengaging.
Yeah, they're almost looking for the 4v5 fight there. Unspecialized thinking about the play, but didn't want to opt in for it. Maybe being called off by his teammates. The respawn was happening very quickly, but not looking to opt in for that one. Another dragon going to be added to the belt. The only good one has gone the way of UTS so far, but we're going to cycle through as much as possible. Cheeky little exit objective as they go back and spend all their gold.
And they get rewarded with another one coming up. 3 for 3.
I don't know if this game is lasting another 6 minutes before that one comes up, or 5 rather.
Have to wait and see, but as you said, it's mostly just going to be for that gold that they do get rather than any real benefit that it can provide them. We often meme about it, the poor Cloud Dragon. Not really desired or wanted most of the time.
Yeah, certainly is the case, but not a lot of objectives on the map. I expect Froggadog's just going to push in topside with the help of his jungler, and they just rotate down for the hard commit bottom. Baron, 3 minutes away. Dragon, 4 minutes away. So nothing on the map to draw UTS out of their base. If they're going to continue pushing with that one, it is going to have to be a straight-up dive, and a dive comp they do have. Got the Sejuani to start it off, the Camille, the Nocturne, everything is in place to be able to set this one up. Not to mention a cheeky 10,000 gold lead definitely feels nice when you're starting up these fights.
QT can really just keep pushing out the waves, wait for Baron to come on up if they want to really play the safe route. They're really utilizing the last of it, but UTS, considering how far they've been pushed in, they actually have decent vision control. But look at this already. 2 members, just Froggadog and High Goodbye, really rallying back UTS. Mike's actually opens with his ultimate. He's hungry to make a play over here onto Froggadog, trying to lock him up, forcing the ultimate from High Goodbye. They do get the pick onto Froggadog.
Yeah, and QUT spreading themselves way too thin there. They commit double members topside and do get punished. Froggadog falls down once again, and remember, this is a 2-0 start for the Renekton. Has been picked on time and time again after that point. UTS still looking to defend the base. Baron has fallen off all of these members, so nothing available to push with as of now. And given that they lost the top lane, very hard to continue this one.
Froggadog is almost suffering from, you know when you get really, really fed and you think you're invincible? You're like, I can 1v5. He's got a bit of 1v5-itis.
What, did you say 1v5-itis?
Yeah. You haven't gotten it?
Nah, I'm a support player. No, we get
That's even more, that's 1v9.
Yeah, as soon as you get a lead as a support player and you die once, it's like, oh, back to useless. All right, bad luck.
It's the only way to be 0-0-20 or something.
Yeah,
that's what you want to be.
That is the life. This push still happening on the bottom side. TP is coming up shortly for Froggadog, but not going to be there just yet. UT still actually sticking around for turret though. Haven't got any reasonable damage, but just kind of locking UTS in their base.
They have a good bit of poke with Feint right there. He is dishing out the majority of it, but it's mostly about just pressuring these lanes. They already have top inhibitor down. They already have middle inhibitor down. If they can crack this last lane here, or at least just stall out enough until Baron, then they can just safely rotate to Baron, and then it's up to UTS to really come out from turtling.
Yeah, it certainly is. They have done a good job holding this last remaining outer. A minute on the clock, as you mentioned, for Baron is going to be the recall timer here for QUT. So on the other side of the map, Yele's jungle just being absolutely pillaged by the enemy team. Not going to get access to any of that, and this vision control surely should be taken out by Froggadog. So once again, QUT in this game starting to set up on the right side. They want that Baron control. The pink ward does get replaced somewhere else, but this is going to be a very hard contest for UTS, but they're going to have to look for it if they do have any hope of turning this one around.
This is where things start to get tricky for UTS. Their vision was completely taken out then by QUT, so they will have to go in slightly blind. But more so, it's going to be base defense that they need to be aware of as well. These minions, if you leave them, they could just very easily end the game by themselves if you let these waves stack.
Xayah, pretty good champion at dealing with them, in all honesty. Siva probably one of the best AD carries, but she is definitely no slouch. And I've been reminded, this is the Camille build. Goes to the redemption into the Gargoyle, of course, because all you have is that one button combo. Dash into the back line, and then when you can become obscenely tanky for no reason with a Gargoyle Stone Plate, then that kind of keeps you alive and stops the trade kill from happening as she becomes the worst target to look for if she does get her engage off.
Never tried it, but I'm inspired after this game. I see the theory behind it, and I'm very intrigued by it.
Yeah, it was actually a fairly big thing. I'm not willing to say that it was on Camille release territory, but when she was like at the height of the meta.
Frogadog, there's 3 members of UTS completely surrounding him, and oh my god, blink and you would have missed it, Chunk.
Yeah, I'm surprised Yele pops the ulti there, but they do take down Frogadog once again. This time has TP, so can get back on the map, but given that he is a side lane and not having access to Baron buff is certainly not a good time with the Renekton. UTS, they've done a very good job at finding these picks, right? They've gone for the double glory comp in the Rakan and the Skarner, so they opted in very hard. They itemized for it as soon as they did kind of lose a little bit of control in this game, but still an uphill battle. Has been for 30 minutes so far, and QUT still looking with a second Baron to be able to close this one out.
Midas might still be lacking in gold, but in terms of experience, he was 2 levels behind Frogadog at one point, and last I looked, they had actually equalized, so a good job to him for pulling himself back. I think on the side of QUT, perhaps that was a little bit of the read, a bit of the play. They definitely wanted Frogadog to be the attention so that they could get that safe Baron. But it's just interesting, you're so far ahead, and yet you still don't want to fight UTS head-to-head. I think they're really respecting the AoE that UTS have. I mean, if that Syndra ultimate lands on multiple members and you have the Featherstorm to follow up, you CC for a long ass time.
Like, to call a spade, I definitely wouldn't be willing to say that was a trade they opted into. Probably just a mistake there from Frogadog, not realizing how quickly they can kind of collapse onto him. Yele
Getting a little bit too far forward, actually getting completely locked up by Vicaria, and he almost lives, but no one's on hand to save him. He goes down. Yeah,
tries to buy some time with the Impale, but unfortunately is not going to be it. And just as we were mentioning, Frogadog got caught on the other side of the map. Yele is the one to fall down, and now it's Baron buff, a 4 versus 5, and they're pushing all 3 lanes.
You can't afford that if you're UTS. You really needed every member to be alive. Frolic is trying to make the play here onto Unspecialized. He's using the ult to try and discourage him. Frolic is not discouraged. He still has eyes on him, but the speed buff is going to be enough. Meanwhile, though, QUT, the rest of the members, they take down that top inhib. They take down that middle inhib. They are pushing down to the Nexus turrets.
Yeah, very nice spell shield from Unspecialized. Denies any kill threat there, and Midas here alone defending his Nexus. The rest of the guys rock up to the play now, but without Rakan ulti, without a Skarner on the map, it's very difficult to force this fight.
Rest of the members now have QUT surrounding. They really do want to get this Nexus turret down. They don't even mind. They're going to dive completely into there. Midas has to use the Hourglass. It doesn't even matter. Frolic's first to fall. Rest of the members trying to buy enough time. Peekaboo, he actually gets a great stun. The shutdown comes across, and the members of UTS, they're holding on right here. They have one more member. Feint is trying his best to get on out. The ultimate comes across from Yele, and Feint gets taken out. That's going to be 4 for 1 on the side of UTS, and they hold on.
And the last stand is huge here from UTS. Somehow they come out with a victory there and pick them apart. That is a lot of shutdown gold. That's a lot of gold just given over here. You can see the gold lead now, less than 10,000. It's been above that point probably for about 8 minutes. A very nice play there, and they get a lot of summoners off the back as well. UTS somehow pull something out of nothing and cling on to this one.
Peekaboo just came out so clutch. Incredibly low, runs to the fountain, gets the stun. The multi-person stun, and then UTS were able to collapse. The only thing is, we have no Nexus turrets. We are still down 2 inhibs.
But the big thing right now, observers pointing out the gold has been toggled over, that it's now a 2,000 lead for a Xayah when his team is almost like 10,000 gold down. That is a huge Xayah right now. Gets a bunch of shutdowns, 6 and 2. And approaching Flame Horizon territory over Feint here. So Cadence has spent a bunch of this split on other roles, kind of flexing between the two as they're trying to piece together a roster. But since he's been back in the bottom lane, performing well so far, and now gets himself a Runans, has the stopwatch and the heal available. So a lot of defensive tools and so much damage can be dished out.
UTS have a hard decision coming out. Yes, they managed to hold on. They did very, very well. As I said, Cadence has that lead, but they have to play the dance coming up soon. Elder Dragon will be up, but not only that, you also do have Baron. I mean, on the side of QUT, it's not the best buffs to have Elder with, but you still don't want to be giving it up for free.
Oh, certainly. Like, it's just a way to force a fight. Like, yes, Cadence is huge, but you look at your comp and it's like, we have a Nocturne Camille, we should be able to lock that guy down. And in about a minute and a half, when the Elder does come up, you expect UTS to want to contest, and QUT will be able to find their fight. And now it just kind of becomes a game of Skarner is no longer ulting a target to kill them. He's ulting someone to keep the Xayah alive. Whoever dashes onto his AD carry's probably just going to get impaled in the head. Frolic with a CC, Peekaboo with a CC as well, and it really is a protect the AD carry comp, keeping them in this game so far. 1 minute left on the timer as once again QUT just kind of wrestling with UTS, keeping them forced very deep within their walls.
Frogger currently the only member running a QSS as well.
Yeah.
So that's really going to be the undesirable target. Yes, you said Yele can use Impale to peel, but if that QSS is up, it's going to be a wasted cooldown. So again, it comes down to juggling. Or if you want to try and blow it early, it becomes harder, right? There's more things that you really need to watch out for and try and count. But this is what QT, I feel, were trying to set themselves up for, and why I think they're finding it kind of hard to end. It's weird, right? UTS, we thought that that was going to be their last fight. They managed to stall a little bit longer. But then it comes to, where are they going to go to from now?
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? If you look at their comp, they want to pick on side lanes and then force us with a 4 versus 5. Their Nocturne wants access to anyone, like when they overextend, and how the hell do you overextend when you're stuck within, like just outside your fountain in your base? It just doesn't happen, so... Breaking the base seemed like a fairly easy task for QUT, but actually breaking the Nexus has been troublesome so far. 5 seconds on the spawn. You can see Frogger still committing topside, pressuring that last remaining lane to push in towards the Nexus. He can actually go for a backdoor if he gets a solo kill, so UTS are torn between 2 places. Remember, no Nexus turrets are alive here, and TP is there for Feint. He's actually hiding in Fog of War right now. That's going to be the... Dragon started up.
Completely started up by UTS. The rest of the members, they're going to try and commit for this one. QUT, they're waiting for their right time to strike. The carrier actually going to try and maybe make a play across the wall. And Specialized opening with the ulti. Hi, goodbye. Goes for the skilling. Gets it. Rest of the members now of UTS completely stuck in this Baron pit. The recall is trying to come out from Cadence. It doesn't actually matter though. Cadence jumps back in. He goes for the kill. The GA has been procced, and this is disastrous for UTS. Cadence finally now the last to be taken out. Frogger comes across too. Midas is on base defense. I don't think there's much that he can do. It's going to be the Nexus that goes on down. The rest of the members of QUT are there. Feint trying his best to kite out Midas. GA has been procced. Nexus is about half health. And QUT, they know that they can easily get away with this, perhaps padding their stats. Midas is next to fall, and Inhibitor respawns just to stall them a little bit longer.
Double inhib spawns is going to deny the end. I really like what all the minions do, just in the bottom corner.
They're clumping, they're ready.
Yeah, just freaking
Let
out.
us at him!
Oh, Super Creep's just sitting there doing nothing.
And QUT, they managed to get this win over UTS.
Yeah, and a very...
day off.
Yeah, very dominant performance there for the red side of the map. That last fight was actually super close, right? Cadence was, like, the Xayah was hitting 3 targets all at once, gets a huge rip back with a Featherstorm, but unfortunately, with a 10,000 gold lead on Ezreal, he gets like triple Elder buff, and then ultimate hits the entirety of your roster. Unfortunately, that was not the fight to be. The last stand earlier in the base, they couldn't make it happen time number 2. And yeah, they were able to close that one out.
I feel like the nail in the coffin as well was Hi Goodbye stealing the Elder from them as well.
Yeah,
because UTS, they put all their eggs into it. They really were just going to commit. They were like, we don't want to do the dance. It's got to commit to this final play. And it was admirable. I mean, it's gutsy to try and make that play.
I think you also kind of have to, because you're still against an Ezreal with TP, and yes, maybe the Aatrox at that point of the game can solo the Renekton. You actually saw on the minimap, if you're paying close attention, Frogger goes in for the fight, and then dashes away. And like, as the Elder Dragon is dying, he's just running away from the Nexus. He's getting beat on by an Aatrox, so... Like, you are kind of in that position where UTS, they're stuck. They have to go for the Elder, and they just wanted the fight to happen.
They did. QUT played that one really well, though. They didn't really lose their cool. Hi Goodbye, they put a lot of trust into him. But also, again, once the fight did break out, the fact that Frogger disengaged, that he could actually teleport in. I don't know, did he teleport or did he just run the whole way?
Frogger?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he was just like in the... You mean in the Nexus?
Yeah.
At the end? Yeah.
But he came to rejoin finally at the end there. But Midas did well. Midas, from the whole game, from being completely camped and shut down, actually managed to really hold his own at the end.
Yeah, complete turnaround performance there. But it really was a very early lead from QUT in the top side, spread elsewhere on the map. But they do pick up the victory. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more League of Legends right after this.